All right. I apologize, everybody, for the confusion with the link. I really don't know what happened. All of us as event organizers here were clicking on the link that was in the event, and it was taking us to this meeting. And then all of a sudden, the link changed. I'm not really sure what happened. So I hope that all of you have. I hope everybody that wanted to come to this meeting was able to get in. So thank you for the little technical issues. I am so excited to be kicking off this group. For those that don't know me, my name is Liz Hallen. I'm the Vice President here at Dynamics User Group. And this group was started as a brainchild for one of our well-known community members named Rick McCutcheon. And he said, I really think that we should get some of our marketing professionals together. And I said, that would be awesome. Who do you recommend that we try and help get this group together? And he was reached out to some folks, and I'm very gracious to have Marie Weiss, Sarah Lyons, Kelly Mazur, and Monica Hoyer as our leaders. I feel like I forgot one. Did I forget one? No, the four of you. Perfect. So thank you, ladies, so much for bringing this together. As we get started, some of you may or may not be familiar with Dynamics User Group, or otherwise known as DUG around here. So I wanted to just kick us off and do a little introduction to DUG and who we are and what we do. So we are a Microsoft Dynamics community that focuses on all the D365 products of Business Central, customer engagement, finance and operations, Dynamics GP, as well as the Power Platform. Our membership is free, and we have a global organization. And though some of you may know us more well known for our DynamicsCon events, we are kind of a newer community in terms of having our full-time staff, but we actually have been around for quite some time. We started back in 1995 as an online discussion forum only. And in the last, I think, 3 years now is when we really started hiring full-time staff, and we've been able to grow this community to 39,000 people worldwide. So super excited about that. Again, our membership is free, and one of the products that are programs that we offer is Meetups. So just like we are here today meeting virtually, we do also offer in-person meetups around the globe. But that's just one of our programs. So that's Meetup. We have over 6,000 people involved in our Meetup program today with about 32 groups around the globe. So really excited, and we have been having great momentum. Yes, so as I said, Meetups, which is what you're participating in today, is one of the ways that we, one of the programs that we offer, but we do have some conferences as well, which I'll talk a little bit more about, but they are the DynamicsCon Virtual and the DynamicsCon Live that you see in my background here. But in addition to our in-person and virtual events, we still have our online discussion forums. And we do also offer, we have a free YouTube channel that has almost 500 educational videos on it. One of our premises is that we are really here to help educate all of you, expand and grow in your careers, as well as network with others as one of the ways to do that. We do a lot of that through our partners, many of which I think you all are. And we do that through event sponsorships. That's our primary revenue source, but we do also have a Team Up Partner Membership Program. It's an annual program, one of our other revenue sources, and it not only gives ISVs and partners year-round exposure, but it helps our end users learn more about the ISV solutions and programs and services that all of you offer as well to our community. So DynamicsCon Virtual, we will be hosting this event in just a very few short weeks. March 15th and 16th is where you will find us. We are very excited. Our virtual event is, the content is generated by the community themselves. And we basically ask the communities to submit sessions, vote on the sessions, and those highest voted sessions are the one that you will see on the final agenda. But this year, we're super excited to be partnering with Microsoft and offering a second day with which we are calling the Microsoft Customer Success Day. This content is 100% curated by Microsoft and mostly presented by the Microsoft employees around some really great tracks. This is primarily focused on D365 and Power Platform, though. Registration for our virtual event is free, thanks to our sponsors. So please register at DynamicsCon.com. And if in-person is more of your bag, DynamicsCon Live will be hosted in Scottsdale, Arizona this year. This will be our third in-person event. Yes, I'm very excited as well, Kelly. And for all of you on the call today, I have a special coupon code, which you can use to get $50 off of your registration. The event will be held May 22nd to the 25th. And again, we will cover the D365, the Dynamics GP, and the Power Platform products. And something very special just for this particular group, because we are all marketers, we are very excited to be partnering with MS Dynamics World, which many of you I hope know, and offering a partner marketing event day. This day will be on the last day of DynamicsCon, so May 25th. And we're going to be doing a very deep dive look. If there are any end users on the call, this may not be the most applicable content for you, but this really is for marketers that are in the Dynamics and Power channels. We're going to be reviewing with MS Dynamics World a survey that they recently did, which talks about and has data and results from customers in our industry, end user customers, to really better understand their buying habits. How they're buying, where they're getting their information, and things like that. So it should be a very, very exciting day. And lucky for all of you, just by joining today's call, if you're interested in attending this event, we are giving away one free registration pass. All you have to do is email me. We're going to do a random drawing. So if you email me by the end of the day, you'll be entered into that random drawing, and I will notify the winner tomorrow. So that is all that I have to talk about with Doug. That was very fast because I know we have some awesome content today. So does anybody have any questions about Dynamics User Group or any of our programs? Beautiful. Then I will just pass it right back to Kelly to continue learning more about the things that you came here for.
Amazing. Thank you, Liz. And thank you so much for that offer for the audience. I think that's amazing that someone out here is going to be winning a free pass to the marketing day. Let me get my screen shared here. All right, so if you didn't see the notice already, this event is being recorded, and the recording will show up on the Dynamics User Group YouTube channel. So if you have a colleague that wasn't able to join us today, they can watch the recording back later. Full transparency, this slide is not just to warn you guys, but it was to remind myself to hit the record button. So that's the first marketing tip for today, right? Awesome. So like Liz said, this is a brand new user group. So this is the marketing professional group. We are so excited to have you guys here. We are planning for 7 different events over the course of the year, and this is the first virtual meetup. The leadership committee, like she said, is myself, Marie Weiss, Monica Hoyer, and Sarah Lyons. And, you know, when I was putting this slide together, I had a little laugh because how obvious is it that we are all marketers when we've all got very professional headshots compared to some of our technical counterparts that we work with some days. So that gave me a little smile when I was putting that together. So the topic today is how to build a relationship with sales to maximize marketing spend. And I think that this is a topic that, you know, comes up for marketers quite a bit, is, you know, how you can kind of have that strong relationship with sales so that you can win together. And I think in a lot of places, it's not that uncommon to have a little bit of friction between sales and marketing. So today we're going to talk about different ways that we can really strengthen that relationship so that you can win together. So my name is Kelly Mazur. I am the manager of marketing and Microsoft partnership at a company called Evenica. We're based just outside of Toronto, Canada. And I've been in marketing for a little over 10 years now. I started primarily in travel and tourism, as well as retail, a little bit of healthcare before I found my spot here in tech. I've worked in Europe, Australia, Southeast Asia, and of course, North America. And joining me for this portion of our event today is my coworker, Stefanie Richter. Steph, can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, happy to. Hi, everyone. My name is Stefanie Richter. I am the Global Business Development Manager at Evenica. And my job at our company is really to facilitate the sales process and biz dev in our org. I also grew up in retail, 10 plus years of retail industry experience, international companies. Like Kelly, made the move to tech in the last couple of years, and I am delighted to be here to offer a sales perspective and, of course, to support my dear friend and colleague.
Thank you, Steph. All right, and so Steph and I are speaking at DynamicsCon Live this year. So if you are in Arizona, please come join us on Tuesday. Our topic is leveraging D365 commerce beyond retail. And Liz already mentioned it, but we've got the partner marketing event that I'm really excited for. If you haven't had to take a look at that agenda yet, this is going to be an education-packed day. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of great content. All right, so before we get into our 5 tips for establishing a strong relationship between sales and marketing, I'm just going to give you a 30-second blurb on who Evenica is so you kind of understand the context, because we're going to give you some real life examples of what Steph and I do. So Evenica is a commerce ISV and SI. We specialize in implementing D365 commerce. And then we also have a growing portfolio of our own IP that extends and amplifies the capabilities of commerce. And we are very proud recipients. Last year, we were the global runner-up in the Partner of the Year Awards in the D365 Commerce category. All right, so kicking it off with our first tip here for how we win together and how we have this great relationship between these two sometimes dividing departments. And the first one is communication. So we pride ourselves on honest and frequent communication. And we like to say one of our catchphrases is calm, clear, and sincere. So we like to talk calm, clear, and sincere when we're talking to customers, in our marketing messaging, and also in the way that we communicate with each other. And that really starts with our morning meetings. So every single morning we have a 30-minute sales and marketing meeting. And it's this first checkpoint where before the day kicks off with back-to-back meetings, we have this checkpoint where we can communicate what's on board that day. So on any given day, both sales and marketing knows what the other is doing all day long, which from the marketing side gives me really good insight into what's in the pipeline. Who exactly is Steph talking to this week? Like, what customers are on board and what industries are we talking to today and this week? And I think that's a really, Steph, you'd probably agree with me. That's, been the foundation for our connection.
Absolutely. This is post-pandemic. This is the evolution of the water cooler talk. It's very easy when you're in an office to be like, hey, Kelly, this thing came up and I'm kind of wondering if you have any insight to be able to offer on this particular topic or subject or customer. But you don't get that same interaction when you can't be shoulder to shoulder with people. So taking that time in the morning to really make sure everybody is on the same page, make sure we're talking the same language, make sure we're communicating the right messaging to our customers, to our partners of what we're wanting to put out there in the universe, and making sure that, we're all on the same page and moving in the same direction.
Absolutely. So on top of that sales and marketing morning meeting, which is our combined department of sales and marketing, it is 6 people at Evenica. Steph and I, between the two of us, also have a weekly one-on-one check-in for any project we have, whether it is like today we're preparing for our next MS Dynamics World panel that we're recording. So we had a check-in on that to make sure that we were on the same page with talking points. So those check-ins also help with our communication. And the best part of our week, we wrap up every Friday with a full 2-hour sales and marketing meeting. We call them Feel Good Fridays. It is a little bit less business, a little bit more personal. We like to talk about what our 3 highlights of the week were, maybe some learnings that we had and anything that we're excited about. And before we pass the mic over to the next person in the team, we have to say something nice about them, something that they did this week that we think that they should be celebrated for. And Steph, I think it's also helped build our department's friendship more than anything. It's that communication on Fridays.
For sure. Well, it's an opportunity for us to go a little bit deeper, right? We tell stories. Again, post-pandemic, we're in a very interesting situation where, it's not uncommon on a Friday that we've got a couple kids running into the screen or somebody else is coming to say hello, the dog's coming. We learn about the people outside of the organization, right? This isn't just about marketing and sales. This is about Kelly and Stefanie and our opportunity to grow together, building something special, building something with meaning. And it's, again, keeping those open lines of communication that really brings value to our team, helps with our team bonding, but it makes sure that when we're going out there into the, greater market, that, we are all on the same page and working together collaboratively.
Yeah.
And that's also, Kelly, where we found out that you were a cheerleader in high school, which, you know, brings us to our very important team motto.
That was a very smooth transition, Steph. So our team motto is don't let her fall. So above all, what has stemmed from this morning communication is that if something's on fire, whether it's for Jennifer, Stephanie, myself, anyone on our team, don't let her fall. How can we step in and help each other, support each other, and get our projects collaboratively over the finish line? What do we need to do for that? So that is a big part of our team.
I was going to say, and there's no surprises, right, Kelly? Because
Yes.
we've had this open communication, you know about all the things that are happening in our pipe. So when something is on fire and we need something really fast, it's really easy to say, hey, can you help? And we all have context for where that's coming from.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Which brings us to tip number 2, which is alignment. You know, I think we're quite fortunate at Evenica that our company has structured our department the way it is. I'm sure there's a lot of other people on the call today that are part of a sales and marketing department rather than having those be 2 siloed departments. But one thing that has worked really well for us is that we are going after the same goal. We're incentivized for the same outcomes, and we're both measured on the revenue that we're driving for the company rather than, say, lead generation for marketing and revenue for sales. So the setup has really encouraged us to win together, and that has really helped with our bond as well.
Again, there's no surprises, right? We talk very openly about our pipeline, exactly what's happening, where we're going. So when we need to be nimble, when we need to be agile, when we need new tools or marketing collateral, it's very easy for us to kind of be able to spin our approach to make sure that we're going after the same things.
Exactly. And I think that really brings us to the next one really good, which is lead generation versus lead nurturing. So at Evenica, with this team, we have placed a higher focus on lead nurturing rather than lead generation. And I do recognize that we're fortunate that we're not low on lead generation. We have a good solid number of leads coming in from the partners that we work with, as well as Microsoft sellers that we work with. So we've really, on the marketing side, I've really switched that focus more to lead nurturing. So we invest heavily in sales collateral versus marketing content. And I think one thing that has worked really well for us in that is that all sales collateral can become marketing content. So when I'm creating content for the week or for the month and doing so with Marie's team at Marketing Copilot and Jason and Adam's team at MS Dynamics World, we're really focusing that content on what the sales team can utilize right now. And I know that because I know what's in their pipeline because of those morning meetings and that communication. So I know that if Steph has customers in a certain industry, she might need content that reflects that. And that sales collateral that I'm creating for Steph to use in her out in the field, it then gets recycled. It always ends up on LinkedIn. It always ends up on our website. And this format has worked really well for us.
And I'd say, Kelly, I really appreciate your ability to be flexible because sometimes your marketing calendar does not perfectly it's not completely in line with maybe what we're necessarily seeing in the field that particular week or month, right? So I really appreciate, again, because of these open lines of communication that we keep coming back to, all of a sudden this week, for example, we've had a ton of opportunities come up in financial services. Mm-hmm. So it's really great that, you know, Kelly and I can reconvene, we can get on the same page, and it's like, okay, we thought we were going to have a real manufacturing focus this month, but can we kind of shift gears a little bit? Because I think that, you know, the Microsoft sellers and the field would really benefit and value from this specific content. So our ability to be able to be agile really helps us in the field to work smarter instead of harder.
And I think one reason that on the marketing side, I'm so willing to be flexible on that and not thrown off by, you know, my God, did someone just change my content calendar, is because we are in agreement of what a qualified lead looks like and what the definition of that is. So I know that these 5 new customers in FinServe that have shown up in our pipeline, I know that they're hot leads. They are very much qualified leads, and they're coming from a partner that we do a lot of business with. So I know that if I change my investment in the content calendar and switch gears, I know it's not for nothing. I know that it's going to nurture leads that are quite hot right now, and it is going to help both of us get to our end goal, which is new business and new revenue. And that brings us to tip number 4, which is our sales plays. So, you know, Steph talked about a little bit right now the industries that we are working with and how every week, every month, we have different customers from different industries that are entering our pipeline. So it's really important for me, in order for sales and marketing to work closely together and win together, I need to understand the sales plays. I need to understand how Steph and the rest of the team are selling, not just that month, but that week, and maybe even that day. And when I can understand which sales play they're going after, whether it's industry specific or something like our commerce first sales play, I can create content that closely aligns with that. And I think that, Steph, you'd probably agree that it's quite win-win, because then you have content that you can use out in the field. And in a lot of cases, it is helping you establish that trust with the pipeline.
Absolutely. And it does end up being a bit of an evolution, which I think is really cool too, Kelly. So when we're working on something and then all of a sudden you get a few more leads, or you learn your words, or things change a little bit throughout that selling process, it's really cool that we can go back and say, hey, you know what? If we just tweaked this one slide or this one pager and we added this terminology instead, it helps us become so much more agile when we're dealing with the market. And we're getting like the words from the market and what people are saying. Right? So when we can more clearly articulate and be more nuanced in our approach, I think it just shows us as subject matter experts in the field, because we're speaking the right language.
Yeah, and I'd say in those morning meetings, when I'm hearing about the sales plays and I'm hearing the strategy behind how you're approaching these deals, when that evolution happens and we have this great wording and these great slides that are coming out of it, oftentimes that actually ends up filling my content calendar, because there's been sales plays like Commerce First that become their own whole webinar, their own MSDW panel. So it's really great for me as well, hearing that straight from you guys. It has really helped with inspiring content creation too. And that brings us to our last tip, which is tip number 5. And this is all about our the Bible of spreadsheets, I think we would call it at Evenica. So Steph and I have this shared spreadsheet. It is our entire content library. So we've got it organized by industry. We've got the name of that piece of content. We've got what type of content it is, whether it's a podcast, webinar, blog post, and then some notes around maybe, if it's a little bit more private or if it's published publicly already. And this spreadsheet, every time I create content, I add it to it. And Steph, please tell everyone how you use this spreadsheet, because I think you do a great job of utilizing it.
Thank you. Marketing content is no good if nobody sees it, right? So I think that it's interesting. My days tend to get away from me. I'm on back-to-back meetings all day, every day. I'm talking to new sellers. I'm talking to partners. I'm talking to people across the channel. And it's really great if, while I'm in a meeting, I can provide them specific collateral that is on topic and in the moment, right? If I can drop a link into a Teams chat while we're having the conversation, it brings so much immediate value and doesn't let things fall off the radar, right? So I keep my Bible open with all of our marketing links that Kelly has so beautifully organized for me. So when I'm talking to a BizApps seller at Microsoft and they say, hey, you know what, I really need something for financial services. We were talking earlier. It's like, hey, 1 second, I'm going to get you the link for the webinar we did on December 8th, because I have all of that content right next to me at my fingertips. And in that moment, I can get her exactly what she needs. And it's not losing momentum, right? So I think sometimes if 2 or 3 days pass before you get out that email with that content, you've already lost your steam, right? So if I can do that in real time for our partners, for our BizApp sellers, for customers, I think it adds a ton of value.
Agreed. So when we bring all of these 5 tips together, we're looking at how we can use these tips in real life and maximize our marketing budget. So I think one thing that has worked really well for us when it comes to that annual budget planning is that I'm able to justify the marketing budget for content creation, because we can closely track it with the effects that it's having on the pipeline. And content creation isn't just marketing when we're also categorizing it as sales collateral, which has been good for us as well. And of course, we can kind of get double our budget here when we are repurposing everything. So it becomes sales collateral, and then it is marketing content. And then we're taking the pieces that perform the best, we're tweaking them, we're duplicating them, we're using them as templates, and anything gets repurposed anytime that we can do so. So I want you guys to take a screenshot of this. This is your action steps that I want you to take from today's presentation. I want you to go out there and set up a regular cadence call between sales and marketing, weekly at a minimum, but I do think that daily is better if you can swing it. I want you to discuss alignment with your sales team. Where do your goals overlap? I want you to discuss leads with your sales team. Do you both agree on the definition of a lead? And are you focusing on lead generation or lead nurturing? I think that's a great conversation to have. Discuss sales plays with your team. Find out how they're selling this month and find out how marketing can support that sales play and that current approach. And lastly, I highly recommend that all my marketers out there create a shared content library, maybe a spreadsheet, so that sales can utilize the content that you have worked so hard and put in so much effort to create in order to get more eyes on it. So Steph and I are really happy that you guys all joined us today and took time out of your busy days. We'd love to connect with you guys on LinkedIn, so please find us there. And now we're going to open up the floor to you guys. We are going to take some questions. We'd love to have an open discussion here. So not just questions, but if you've got input, what has worked for you at your company as far as sales and marketing goes, we would love to hear it.
Am I allowed to jump in with the first question, Kelly?
Go for it. Yes.
You know, I like the tough questions. I think it's brilliant what you are doing, and you know, it seems so obvious. It seems like, yeah, this is the best way to get any team firing on all cylinders. For people in our audience today who maybe haven't had the luxury of having their departments aligned the way yours is, what would be your best piece of advice to go get management on side with this approach and the approach you've outlined today? How do you crack that nut? I work with lots of end customers. I work with lots of marketing people who are really struggling. They're struggling to get their voice heard. They feel like they've got the responsibility, but not the authority to be making decisions in some case. What advice would you give them to get people on board for this?
I think the first thing you should do is you should look at what those goals are. What are those objectives of marketing? Because I'm pretty sure if we peel back the layers and we look at what the marketing department is trying to achieve, there's nothing in that line item that says produce beautiful content, have a beautiful website. There's numbers attached to that. There is revenue generation that you should be contributing to. And when you look at it from that angle, in a lot of cases, marketing alone can't bring in that revenue. You have to do that alongside shoulder to shoulder with sales. I also think if you've got management that has a problem with you having at a bare minimum a weekly check-in with the sales team, that's a bit of a red flag to me.
And also, Kelly, it doesn't have to be, you know, we've talked, you know, that we've established this very clear calendar that, you know, in the mornings we have our 30-minute sync. It doesn't always have to be a 30-minute sync, right? There are oftentimes throughout the week where something comes up or something changes, and it's really easy to be able to call you and say, hey, do you have 5 minutes where we can go over something really, really quick just to make sure that, you know, we're good? And just that quick sync. And I also laugh sometimes when you know, we're doing these things and then get into our own calendars and our own work, but we're side by side on a virtual Teams call. You know, doing our own thing, but it's about keeping that time. And even if it's quick, it doesn't have to be hours blocked in your calendar, but to just take that 30 seconds, 2 minutes, 5 minutes to be able to get aligned brings so much value later on to make sure you're not running different directions.
I agree. I think that's the start to everything.
Yeah, great answer. Thank you.
Sarah.
Well, first of all, that was great. I learned so much from you guys just now, and you know, the thing that really stood out to me the most from even my personal experience is maximizing the marketing budget by being so aligned with the sales. Mm-hmm. So you know, there's less marketing content that is like, well, where did we get that lead from? We don't know. You know, so when you go back and ask, okay, can we increase it here? Can we lower it there to actually, you know, get more out and get more resources towards marketing? I think that's so brilliant, you know, to really keep in close contact. So my question for that is, you know, when it comes to tracking the efficiency, do you guys, you know, is it all just, you know, being in contact with sales and being like, oh, this worked here with there, or is there like a ranking system? Like, how do you guys really just track that?
Yeah, so in our CRM, you know, we're pretty thorough with our notes and tagging things. We are trying to get better at sending out content. I mean, this part's hard to say because Steph has such efficiency when she can do it in Microsoft Teams, whereas me on the marketing side, I'm like, can you send that through CRM so we can track when it's been opened and we can flag how many times this piece of content has been open? So I would say on our end, that is still a work in progress as far as tracking goes. But the feedback that we get from not just the customers in our pipeline, but also a lot of feedback that we get from Microsoft and from other partners that we work with, that has been a really good indication of what pieces of content are having the highest impact, which has been good for us. We've also had a lot of our content get picked up by Microsoft. We've had webinars that they've seen and asked us to re-record with them as part of it so that they can use that content as well. So that's been always a good indication for us of what's helping us convert.
Awesome, thank you.
And there's also value and flexibility too, Kelly. We alluded to it earlier, but just the being able to quickly adapt to changes in what we're seeing in the pipe brings so much greater value to marketing spend when it's being spent on the customers that need it now.
Yes, yeah, I agree. Emily.
Yes, thank you. Just rolling off the having conversations with your sales. Luckily enough, we get to. We're about a weekly cadence right now. My question for you guys is, a lot of the times we're having our conversations, and yeah, we're talking about what's in the pipeline, what they're looking to close, what they got coming up. What kind of questions or things that you guys are typically bringing up to get more information out of them? I feel like a lot of the times for us, it's just straight to the point when I'm trying to get as much possible out of them as I can. So I'm just wondering if you guys have any tips for that.
Yeah, so the way that our 30-minute morning meeting is structured is we are essentially going through our calendars of what's on deck that day, whether it's customer meetings, partner meetings, or what projects need to be executed that day. And I think in doing so, because this isn't, I wouldn't describe this as so much of a check-in meeting. If you go back to our team motto, which was don't let her fall, when we're talking about customer XYZ that we're doing a demo at 10 a.m. this morning, there is a kind of roundtable discussion of the sales play. What strategy are we going to use for this customer at 10 a.m.? And the pre-sales solution architect, our VP of business development, and Stefanie will get into a pretty specific conversation about how they want to handle that conversation and that call, and how they're going to drive the questions for that. And during that conversation that the three of them are having, and I'm, kind of witnessing, it will be like, okay, well, we need to earn trust on this part. We have to do that. Do we have a slide that represents that? So that's where marketing sitting in that meeting can come in and say, hey, we created a slide for that last month. Let me add that to your deck. So these are quite productive morning meetings, and that they're almost a working session. So they're not just sharing their pipeline of list of customers that are in the pipeline, the status, and who they're talking to today. It's much more productive than that. And I could see how for some marketers out there that could not seem like a productive use of your time. And there are times in these morning conversations where I feel a little bit more removed from the inner conversation going on there. But it is that visibility that has been incredibly valuable to me in terms of supporting sales and in terms of content creation. So I hope that answers your question, Emily.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Actually going through, I feel like there's just a typical slide deck here and there we'll use, but actually knowing who they're meeting with and listening to those conversations, those are the questions I could be asking. So that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's the key part there is knowing what strategy and what sales play they're going to put in place. That's the missing link, I think.
Awesome.
Monica.
Hello, ladies.
Hi.
Thank you so much for this presentation. Super helpful. And always love to hear new strategies on how to improve that communication. One of the questions that I had was around that sales collateral versus marketing collateral. How do you ensure that, I mean, you're heavily focused on the sales side of things, but how do you ensure that those leads that you are trying to continue to generate also feel the love at the same time when you're really super focused on the sales collateral?
For us, it has been quite natural. So the sales collateral is really driven by what's in the pipeline right now. What customers are we trying to close in the next, let's say, 2 to 3 months? And what content does the sales team need in order to facilitate with closing that deal, and whatever piece of the puzzle they need to earn trust on, or show that we can, we have this capability or we can do this. And I would say that the content that we create as sales collateral that is answering those questions, 9 times out of 10, someone completely new to us out in the field, out in the lead gen world rather than lead nurturing, is asking the same questions. So when it comes to repurposing sales collateral that can be a little bit more specific into marketing content, I usually just bring it up a level and add, if it's a webinar, we will take it up a level and do more of an intro before getting into the meat of that content. If it is a guide or an ebook, maybe the meat of the sales collateral is page 5, and we have some introductory stuff leading up to it. So that's usually my process when we're trying to get a good bang for my buck out of the sales collateral I've created.
Awesome. Thank you.
I am so incredibly grateful for Kelly, especially when I get to these end stages of the sales cycle, because coming from a very big international company, it was so hard to get the right tools from marketing in a really quick turnaround, right? It was like, well, we need international approval. We need this, we need that. And it's like, it brings so much value for me to be able to go to Kelly and say, hey, this is what I need in the field right now. And we work backwards, right? So it's that opportunity to be able to give the customers what they're looking for now, but then repurposing it in a way that makes sense for lead generation as well.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Any other questions or comments? I'd love to hear from anyone in the audience about any other tips you want to add to the 5 that me and Steph presented. What is working for you right now? We want to hear from you guys too on how you have a strong relationship with your sales team. Oh, come on, marketing people aren't usually that shy.
Well, Kelly, I'll add something from a sales perspective while we're waiting for people to chime in. We, in the last few weeks, have instituted something a little bit different, and it's to give Kelly more visibility onto what's happening on the sales side. So we've actually got a collaborative OneNote that we've started with all of our customers, all of our leads, all of everything that we're generating in one place, so that if Kelly has a quick question about something, or what platform somebody's on, or something specific that they're needing, she's got one easily accessible place that both the technical pre-sales architect and myself are adding notes into one document, and we're all working from the same working document, which is so valuable for us to be able to see things in real time as deals are starting to evolve and change. So.
And actually, one thing I do use that for already is I've always been a big fan of copying the audience's words. So, our audience or our customers who's in our pipeline, the way they describe something within e-commerce implementation, it could be different from how I would describe it. But when I use their own words back at them, they feel heard, they feel seen, and that content can really resonate with them. So when I'm looking at the notes that you and Jen have put into our shared OneNote, I can get the customer's exact wording, the exact phrasing that they're using right now, and that's been quite helpful as well. Right, marketers, anything else? Rick McCutcheon, I see you here. You're being quite quiet. There he is.
I'm out of my realm in this group, so I'm just kind of laying low.
Well, we're happy to have you here. Awesome. Well, if that's it, we'll give you guys back an extra 15 minutes to your day. But it's just a huge thank you for you guys being here with us today, taking time out of your day for our first Marketing Professionals DUG Meetup. We're really excited to have this place where we can all be together, where we can collaborate and share ideas, and really just be there to support each other as marketers in this amazing channel that we have here. So thank you very much for being here. Rick, did you have something to add?
Oh, no, I think Liz is going to do a little presentation on a couple of the events that we have planned for the spring.
I actually already did that, Rick. You missed it at the
Oh, did you? Okay, sorry. I was late.
I know. That's quite okay. That's quite okay.
All right.
I realized
Then
though
I'll put my hand
after
down.
after my introduction that I don't think any of my slides were showing. I was literally going through a slide deck and I don't think that I was sharing. So my share
were not.
capability is grayed out. So
Love a funny job.
I wanted to just chime in and let everybody know that today's recording will be posted on the DUG YouTube channel, and we will post that as well in the meetup that you all RSVP'd to. So thank you all so much for your amazing content and for your leadership and organization. This group that I see on the screen is quite a phenomenal group. So very excited to have these DUG meetups happening, particularly this marketing one. And hopefully next time we will not have so many Teams technical issues to get everybody in.
Speaking
Absolutely.
of which, Liz, we're going to be meeting in April, and we're going to be talking about data. So all the marketers that are on the call, if you have questions or want to learn more about what data is important in 2023, please join us for that. The date and time are still TBD, but keep an eye on the Meetup channel.
Yeah, you guys are gonna love the topics that these four ladies have come up with. So it's pretty great content for the rest of the year. As long as you are signed up under the Meetup group on the platform, as soon as a new event is added, you'll get an email notification.
And you can connect with any of us on LinkedIn because we'll always post about it when there's upcoming meetups as well. Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for being here, and enjoy the rest of your Thursday.
Bye all.
Bye.
Have a great day.